Hello. This presentation skills beyond the basics is that you are not beginners. And what we're looking at today is sound and movies. So it's under the multimedia area. I'm sure that a lot of you are doing a lot of this already, but it's just something just to clarify maybe for some, and some of you may want to know how to do it and start doing it. The other area of the video following that is the slideshows. So we'll look at action buttons, which are useful for jumping around when you're showing a presentation, some custom shows, and some more detail about the applying transitions, really, the timings, the different settings that you can get, and how to set up a slideshow. For example, you might want to put it on loop if you've got it just going round and round at an exhibition or something like that. So, and the final thing is some techniques just while you're doing your presentation. So hopefully some of this will help. And I hope you enjoy this. This is Stephanie Tobin. So inserting sounds, we're talking about the insert tab up here, and then you've got this media area here. So obviously you've got audio, you can have stuff on your PC or you can record it yourself. Be aware that once again in the exam you will have the audio on there to bring in. So remember, it's simulated, a simulated Z drive. You don't have to go and find it. It's going to be in there where your C would normally be, a local drive, and you work on it simulated as if you're taking it from that drive or saving it to that drive. So that's where you would find things. And then the video area is very much the same. As you'll see, when we actually go in and do something, then you get extra toolbars coming up at the end. So we'll have a look at that too. So there's your audio, and the other one was your video. So let's have a little go at looking at something. So sound presentation could be simple, could be quite effective as well. So if you've got something that you really want to get across, music or a sound effect to bring life to your presentation, it always works really well. So on the insert tab, like we said, we've got audio, and it brings up a playback tab. So let's have a look at how that works. So I'm going to go and pick up some audio that I've got in those folders. There's a growl automatically there. It could be the Z drive if that happens. So if I double click that, there's this sound I've just brought in. I can drag it around by grabbing it. You might be asked in the exam actually to put it in a particular corner as well. Notice, as I said, the audio tools become available. So we have what they call the playback tab. It's quite useful. So you can fade stuff in and out. So if you've got something that starts, quite loud, and you can fade in, or if you want to fade stuff out, use the other option. The exam will mainly concentrate on things like the volume, the playing across slides, loop until stopped. So this is if you're in somewhere and a PowerPoint's going on in the background and you just have it looping, and the music looping as well. You can have rewind after playing, or hide during the show, which is quite a common one. Okay, so playing across the slides means that it will just keep going across that slide until you get to the next one, and then this one's hide during the show. That's the example of that. If we then come down to the David Bowie Space Oddity, let's have a little play. So we'll go into Shift and F5. So as you can see, it's quite effective when you use sound behind an image, and you can, as I said before, go back to your playback. You can have it starting automatically, which is what it did. As soon as I went into the PowerPoint, it just started. So you can have it either there or on a click. You've got your volume once again. You've got your play across slides, loop until stopped. Then you've got these, and I couldn't see it while it was playing because I had that tipped on. Okay, so if we move on, you've got things where you could bring in, you could have an ambulance, and then you could insert, if you go to your audio from your PC, and then go into our sounds as a folder that you can pick up, that I put up there with your materials, and there's the sound of an ambulance. So you could delete that one. Got this one going. bring that over so we can grab it. See what can happen sometimes, you can't grab them. So if I play that, whoa, that is quite loud. So you can see that this could be a video. If we come on to the next one, you can have videos. So here's a video. I'll just delete this and bring it in so you can see. So you can get videos. Be careful when you're on campus, because on campus IT services will block certain things coming through, which is understandable. And you can go and get, as we did before, go and get a video this time. So you could get one, a video on my PC. I'll pop some videos as well. So if you go back into those folders, in the videos there's an engineering one, which you can insert. And you could resize if you wanted it to sit nicely into your PowerPoint, whatever you want to do. Or take up the whole screen, and then you can see that. A nice thing to watch. So it's really useful way of getting a message across when you've got an audience. You could have that playing while they're sat there. Once again, go back to the playback. You've got it start on a click, but you could have it automatically. And you could have it looping if it's only a short video. This one here is just, I love this for fun really. This is on YouTube. The eyes watching, the dogs watching the person. It's quite hilarious the way they've taken it. So you can get a lot of fun. But they can also demonstrate things in a PowerPoint as well, and get your audience involved or engaged with you. If you had kids or teenagers or something, you might want to put something up that's not quite so boring. In here you could pop your own video in, your own music, so it's worth having a go at that as well, or just get a PowerPoint up and have a go and use some of the stuff I've given you. We've got like introduce an animation. We're going to look at some objects, graphics, bullets, charts, all, if you like, objects. So graphics, bullets, charts, not just things like pictures or shapes. All of these things are objects. So if we look at this, if you select all the bullets, and then we go to the animations tab this time, so this is just like a little bit into animation about customizing animation. If we just highlight that again carefully, so I'm not over highlighting, and then we just bring in appear, they all get the same bullet. If we go to the animations tab and animations pane, that brings that up here. So if I go into a PowerPoint mode, just let me just change my display for you. And if I click, they all come in together, and then escape. So if you don't want to do them like that, because that'd be very unusual, you can actually click on here and we can delete. Just remove them all. Notice when I did that, if I undo, notice how the numbers disappear from here too. So when it comes to animation, if you just click in the first one, then do the appear, it showed it very quickly, and you can see how it looks slightly different because it's one animation and they're automatically coming in one after the other. You've got an extra one there, so you could, that could be for that, so you can delete that in a number, or you can delete it up here. If you wanted to bring in a picture, let's say we wanted to insert, let's go for pictures. Let's go in there and I'll see if I can pick something. There's computer. Let's bring it right down. Let's say we brought that in and we wanted to animate that. Animations, we can go and we could do a floating. But notice how that's got number 6. What if we wanted to float it in after bullet point 2? So what we can do is click on here and we can move it up. So we can move it up so it becomes after bullet 2. It's now 3. So in the exam they may ask you to do customization with regard to how something's animated. So make sure that you're aware of the animation pane, you're aware of the effect, you're aware of all the other effects which we'll be looking at in a lot more detail soon, and the way that you can do the duration, how long it lasts, and if you want to delay on it or something like that. So that's the animation. You can have a go at that on there if you want on your own and see if you can do the same. So bullets and graphics if you've got animation on a title like that, and they asked you in the test to remove just that animation, you would just go up to that, click on delete, and it's disappeared. You won't affect the other animation. Okay, so animation continues. We're going to look at doing it to a chart that we can create. So let's copy this data from this slide 16, and go into slide 17. Use the insert chart feature. I'm happy with the column. Okay. Okay, once that comes in, let's paste, right click, paste, match destination rather than the other feature, because then it will keep it nice and small and doable. So we've got to get rid of this series 2 and series 3 because they don't exist, and then we've got something called category 4 going on over here, which is that item there. So these need to be gone. So let's use the blue handle. Let's drag across, take the series out and take the category 4 out, and watch them disappear from the slide. So now it looks better the way it is. We can also bring the slide in a little bit so we can see the chart better. Okay, so we can close that. We're happy with that. So now we're going to click on here. We're going to go to the animations tab and we're going to do an appear. And if we go through a preview of that, it just comes in. It's not really doing very much, is it? But if we then click back on it, we've still got this bit here. And if we actually do some effects, so we have it as by series, we've only got one series. So if we did it by category, which are the weeks, and do that, that might help. So let's go in and have a look at that. Just bear with me while I change my display. Are we ready? So on a click, there's the grid. 2, there's the next chart. So it's coming in by category. And then escape. So when you look at this, you can see, we drop it down there, it's got what it's doing by category, and we can do lots of other things with it as well. But it's really useful to know that you can animate bullets, charts. You can obviously animate pictures of all sorts. We can even just put some smiley faces in, and you can animate those. So if you go to animation, you can do things like the custom path. So you can do that and double click, and then it will follow that path. So there's lots of things you can do on animation. It's really good. And your media stuff as well, all in here. Really good way to get things across. And even though it's not in the exam, there is a screen recording. So if you do want to record over, if I click on there, you'd select the area you wanted to record. You might have a PowerPoint up in there. And then you click the record, and then it will it will put in what you're saying, the same way as I've done. And then you can put that out as an MP4 or an MP3, usually an MP4. So, yeah, that's media part finished. So if you want to go on to do the weekly revision questions that go with this, they are following. Okay, thank you for your time. Hi, my name's Stephanie Toman. I'm the ECDL Programme Manager at Coventry University, and I'm covering the advanced presentation, or some of you know it as A227MP. And this area is the area we're going to cover is section 5, slideshows. So if we follow this presentation that I'm going to go through with you, you can use the same presentation and the files that I'm using if you want to practice and go through them with me. So first thing I've got to do is we're going to look at what we're using, and we're using action buttons. Action buttons are in the Insert tab, drop the shapes down, and there they are. And if you hover on them, they will tell you what they are. Action button information, the document, as it speaks for itself, like it could be a document, going forward or next. And then you've got things like action button, home, and then you've got your customize button. So just be aware of those for a minute. So like I said, they can jump to another slide in that presentation. They can jump to another presentation. They can jump to the web, email, and different files that you could bring in as well. It's a really rapid way of getting there while you're in delivering mode, share presentation mode and you're presenting. So let's have a look at the first one. So it's asking us to open up the training presentation. So I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to go and get the files there. If we look at the files that I've got, if you go up a minute, they are going to be in the week 5, section 5, and they're going to be in the work files because these are projects, these areas that you can do. I'll show you those in a little while. This is the presentation I'm using, so let's open up the work files and open up training. We'll just get rid of that in a minute. So we've got the training slides alongside, or PowerPoint alongside our lecture. So if we read the first one, it's about using action buttons linking to a slide. So we're going to create an information action button on slide 2. So that's the most important thing in the test, is make sure you're on the right slide. So we're on 2 and we're going to do an action button. So we're going to go insert, drop down the shapes, look for an information action button. There it is there. Click on it. Draw it out on the slide. They may ask you to put it in a particular place. Follow the rules or the instructions. Click on the hyperlink to, and then we'll drop down, we'll go to slide, and then it gives us the options of different slides, and we're going to 7. Okay, so that one's done. We go to our next slide instruction. We've now got a slide in another presentation. So we're going to create an information custom action button from slide 4. So let's go to slide 4. And it's going to link to slide 1 of the CIA seminar presentation in the slideshow files. So we're going to go and get our button. And we're going to use the custom, which is this blank one here. Draw it out. And then we're going to hyperlink to, drop the options down, and this side we're going to an other PowerPoint presentation. Brings up our files where we went earlier. In the exam they will be in the simulated Z drive, just like you'll be sat there with the Z instead of the C. And we're going to open up our seminar, CIA seminar, just following this over here. And it wants us to go slide 1, which is already on. So we OK and we OK. So that one's done. Move to the next slide. This time we're going to do a document button to create a document, and we're going to put it from slide 5. So go to 5, make sure we're in the right one, insert again, drop down, I think you know it by now, look for the document one, draw that one out and go to hyperlink to, drop that down, and we're going to go other file. And there's our sample file, Word document, and OK. So it says to try them, but as you noted on the first slide, when you go to slide 7, so if we go to slide 2 and we go into presentation mode, let's just bring my display down, I've got too many windows. So if we go in here and we clicked on 2 and went like that, we get to 7, there's no way of coming back. So it's really not a good idea. I know we've done it just for fun, but you could go to 7 and you could get another one to go back to somewhere else. So it might be going back to 3 if you've not covered it yet, or 4. So when you've recently used them, they become available here. But you could go and choose your own, and then you could just do a hyperlink back to slide, and you could go to 4, for example. So that would work. So have a little play with them in presentation mode and see how they work. Before moving on to the hyperlinking, just make you aware that these are objects. So you'll get the format tab and you'll get sizes and things like that. They may ask you in the exam to change sizes and make them all the same, etc. So just be aware that they are still an object even though they're doing something. With regard to hyperlinking, let's have a look at this next slide here. We're going to look at, so we're going to change that to a website, and we're going to pop a website link to CIA training. So if we do, we could put CIA training as our text, we could copy that, right click and go to hyperlink, or if not, go to insert. Just going to open this up a little bit so we can see better, and you can see your hyperlink there. Okay, so we've got our hyperlink and we've got our address, so they will give you this in the exam. So CIA training, ciatrain.ing.co.uk. You can see the text displayed is up there as that, and when you go onto it, if we go into, just give us a minute, into slide mode, change it to the duplicate one, and if you click on it, then you will hopefully, as I've just got over here, escape, it's shown me a website there. So it's actually gone to the website CIA training. Okay, you could do one to Coventry University if it helps. So if we just minimize this a little bit again, let's move on to our next slide. So that's hyperlinking, which is really useful as well. This one now is about opening up the custom shows. So we're going to use the business presentation. I think we'll close this one. So if we open up business, I'll pop it over here. And it says save the presentation as custom. So file, save as, save it into your drive. Always use the browse when you're in the exam, because by using the browse, you'll see the Z drive coming up here. So I'm just going to pop it on my desktop for now. Actually, I might just put it into the ones I've got. So I'm going to call it custom, but I'm going to put it at the end so I can delete it afterwards, because obviously presentation purposes will believe it will pretend it's custom. So we're going to save that. Then it says create a new custom slideshow. So if we go into the slideshow, there's actually a custom slideshow option here. So if we click on the custom shows and we click on new, we can call it finance. And then we can pick the slides it wants us to add. So it's 1, 4, 9, scroll down, 11 and 12. So we're going to add those over to the one called finance. This is our custom show. So custom shows, a good example would be is if you had two different departments, one was finance related and one wasn't, and you might have certain slides that fit to their subject area, if you like, or the way that they work, and you may have something more light-hearted for marketing or something. So you might have the same presentation with all the information in it, but then customize it according to your audience. So then it says run the custom show and end the custom show. So we'll OK, and we'll show. So it's coming out. I'll just change my displays again so you can see. So it's running it. So you just go down. So you run it. Escape, come out of it, and then ended it. So we've done that. Then finally edit the custom show to include slide 2 after 1. So back into the show, this time we've got a name called finance. We go in there. Let's escape. Let's go back in there again, sorry. So custom shows, if you go onto the finance, it runs it. And we're going to edit. And we're going to pick slide 2. But it's going to be after slide 1. So it's called mission statement. I'm going to bring it up. So it's after slide 1 and OK. And once again, if we show, it'll do that. So if we close, that's fine. Remember, if you go into custom shows, do that, it shows, do that, you go in and you can edit. So let's just have another look at the next slide. We're going to look at some transition. So if we think about transition in a sort of presentation, transition is always about how the slides come in, and it's good practice to keep them the same unless you've got a particular slide that you want to emphasize. So if I just open this up a little bit, you can see a bit more. You've obviously got your types of coming in, but you've also got the effects that you can have coming in as well. So you can change those, and it's a lovely effect that is. I always find it really, really good. But be aware that that's the sort of things you can do. But you would apply that to all. So if I open it up again, you can see that it's on the first one, but then I can apply to all. And then if I go into slideshow, onto here, you can see that that happens on all of them. And it's really nice the way it's very sort of soothing, really, isn't it? Maybe that's me. Okay, so on this next slide, we're actually going to follow some instructions with regard to transitions. So we're using the custom, which is what we've got here. We called it business custom, but it's the same slide. Apply airplane transition effect with the direction of coming from the left. So let's have look for our airplane transition effect. There it is there. And it wants us to come from the left. Whoa. Okay, set the transition effect duration. So you've got your duration here. So we're going to change that to 2. Okay, and ensure that the advanced slide on the mouse click is ticked. So the advanced slide here, we make sure that that's ticked, and it is. It's on mouse click. And then select apply all to slide. So then we can then go apply all, and then that effect has taken place. So let's have a quick look at it. I'll change my duplication. There we go. Ooh. I don't know about you, but I don't find that as soothing as the previous one, but hey ho, it's just applying something, effects, and setting up the options, which is the sort of thing you'll do in the exam anyway. So, timings. As it says on this slide, you can also have timers applied to each slide separately. So what you can do is, this is like the rehearsed timings, and if we go into the slideshow, you can see lots of information along here. And you've got the usual that we use from beginning, from a current is Shift F5, and then you've got the rehearsed timings. So the rehearsed timings will show you the actual whole presentation in one window and the time that it takes for that presentation. The only thing I find about this is okay when it comes to the exam, but in real life what I find is that you talk a lot quicker when you're doing it rather than when you're practicing it. So they can become a bit disjointed, but it's entirely up to you. It's a good way maybe of finding out if you can get your presentation into 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It might be a way of getting you sped up a little bit or cutting through some of the text if you've gone too far with it. If we look at setting up the slideshow, so if we go into setup here, so setup slideshow, this is what this is going to show. I'll just pull it over here. So some of the areas they definitely deal with in the exam is loop continuously, they like that one. Shown without animation is another one. Changing that from manually from using timers to manually if they exist, if they're present. They're the main areas in the exam that you would be expected to know. But the biggest thing about this one is where to find it. So just remember where we found it, which is in the slideshow. Okay. And then the final slide is about when you're in presentation mode. So let's have a look at some of these things. You've got the annotation options pen. We'll have a look at that. Edit in the pen. Pausing, so you can display a black screen with a B, right click black screen, or you can just do a B, or you can do a W for a white screen, escape to come out. Okay, so, and I'll talk about the last bit in a minute, so let's go into this one again. Let's start the PowerPoint. Let's change to the show. So if I right click, I can go and get a pen pointer or a highlighter, and I could highlight some. That's a really bad colour, so maybe I need to change the colour. So ink colour black. So maybe I want to emphasize. Not doing very well, is it? Let's do pen. I think that's better. Okay, there it goes. Down a slide. maybe I do a W button here and you get a white window, and then a B button after that one. B again, it goes back to normal. Maybe I want to emphasize that. Not very good at this, am I? Let me come down again. So all of these, if you like, are on a right click here. So you can go to next, you can go to previous if you want to. You can use those annotations, your custom shows you can get from there. You can use your pointer, eraser, so I can actually just try and erase something out. And also, as it says in the test, if you cannot see the answer button because your PowerPoint has gone into full mode like this, then if you hit escape, I'll discard those things. You can see your answer button again. But the best way to do it, as I've said, if I just minimize the slide and we open up this one, as I've said in here, in the diagnostic test, we'll practice this. If you use the escape key to access the button, it's not always available. If it is available, just click on it. Sometimes it just opens into the open window, simulated window, and not the answer button, which is on the question bar. But if not, then you can always go down and pick up. You'll be able to pick up the question bar. It'll be sat down here, and we'll show you how to do that when it comes to it. I'll do an example. And you can still answer while it's in that mode. Okay, so that's the slideshow techniques in week 5, section slideshows. Hopefully you've enjoyed that and have a little play and pick up some things. And this might be a good area while you're delivering some PowerPoint presentations yourself. Thank you.